Hello everyone, I'm Tinta Naal. Today I will explore leadership in a contemporary organizational context, focusing on Eric Yuan, the founder and CEO of Zoom video communications company. Zoom is one of the most significant digital communication platforms globally, especially after its rapid expansion during the COVID-19 pandemic. In this presentation, I will analyze five main sections: introduction and organizational context of Zoom and its founder Eric Yuan's leadership approaches, how they are theoretically and practically applied to Zoom, how leadership influences employee motivation and organizational performance, and conclude with leadership recommendations. As I mentioned earlier, Eric Yuan is the founder and CEO of Zoom Video Communications, headquartered in San Jose, California. The focus division in this presentation is Zoom Meeting Platform, which is the company's core video communication product. Yuan's leadership became especially visible during the COVID-19 pandemic when Zoom experienced extraordinary growth. Daily users increased from 10 million in 2019 to more than 300 million in 2020. Zoom operates in a highly competitive industry with major rivals, including Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and Costco Webex. To analyze Yuan's leadership, some well-known theories such as transformational leadership, servant leadership, John Adele's action-centered leadership, and Hertzberg's two-factor theories are applied. With this leadership style, Yuan has also received significant recognition, including Time Business Person of the Year, Time 100 Most Influential People in 2020, Maverick Leadership Award in 2021, and EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2018 award, and so on. Now, let's deep dive into Eric Yuan's leadership style. It reflects elements of both transformational leadership and servant leadership. Transformational leadership focuses on inspiring employees to exceed expectations through vision, innovation, and organizational change. Yuan demonstrates this by promoting a vision of improving human connection through video technology. At the same time, Yuan strongly reflects servant leadership principles, which prioritize the well-being and development of employees. He frequently emphasizes that employee happiness leads to better customer service and stronger organizational performance. Yuan's leadership demonstrates the four components of transformational leadership as proposed by Bates and Evolio. First is inspirational motivation. His vision of deliver happiness helps create a strong organizational purpose. Second is idealized influence. Yuan acts as a role model by demonstrating strong ethics and transparency, particularly during crisis. Third is individualized consideration, reflected in Yuan's attention to employee well-being, including programs that support learning and development. Finally, intellectual stimulation. Employees are encouraged to challenge ideas and innovate. For example, Zoom introduced initiatives such as No Meeting Wednesday to support deeper thinking. Yuan's leadership philosophy also reflects servant leadership, where the leader's primary role is to support and develop others. His leadership behaviors and managerial action focus on humility, gratitude, and recognition, which help to base trust and strong relationships within the organization. By prioritizing employees and customers, Yuan attempts to create a workplace culture that encourages collaboration and long-term commitment. The combination of transformational and servant leadership provides several important advantages for Zoom. Firstly, it encourages innovation and organizational adaptability, which is essential in the technology sector. Secondly, it helps build a strong organizational culture reflected in very high employee approval ratings. For example, Yuan received around 99% approval on Glassdoor, and Zoom was ranked highly for employee happiness. However, there are also limitations. One issue was security and privacy challenges, particularly during the early stage of pandemic. One incident like Zoom bombing raised concern about platform security. Another challenge is overdependence on the founder's leadership. Transformational leadership often centers strongly around the leader's vision, which may become difficult to maintain as the company grows. Finally, the strong emphasis on growth and performance may lead to employee burnout, as some employees reported working across multiple time zones and experiencing limited work-life balance. To further analyze leadership in practice, we can apply John Adele action-centered leadership models. Developed in the 1960s and 1970s, this framework was revolutionary because Adele was one of the first theorists to argue that leadership is trainable, not dependent on inherent personality traits. This model presents three overlapping circles: task, team, and individual. As my tools explain, the shaded area of the interlocking circles show that each area relies on one or both of the others for success. So, an effective leader must balance his action across all three. Let me examine how Yuan addressed each dimension. The first element of Adele model is task, which focuses on ensuring organizational goals are achieved. In Zoom's case, this task was extremely challenging during the COVID-19, when demand for video communication increased dramatically. Eric Yuan and his leadership team had to ensure that the platform could scale rapidly while maintaining reliability and service quality. This requires significant coordination between engineering team, infrastructure expansion, and security improvement, and Zoom proved it with its drastic user growth trend. This demonstrates strong test leadership because the organization was able to achieve its strategic objective despite certain global demand. The second element of Adele model is team, which focuses on building strong collaboration and positive working relationship among employees. At Zoom, Eric Yuan promotes a collaborative and supportive organizational culture. His leadership philosophy of deliver happiness encourages employees to work together to improve both the product and the user experience. By encouraging open communication and teamwork, Yuan's help create an organizational environment where employees feel comfortable sharing ideas and working collectively towards company goals. The third element of Adele model focuses on the individual needs and development of employees. Eric Yuan leadership strongly reflects this element because he emphasizes listening to employees and understanding their needs. However, rapid growth and high overload during the pandemic created pressure on engineering teams, which sometimes affected work-life balance. Therefore, leaders must continue to ensure that individual employee needs are supported while maintaining high organizational performance. Hertzberg's two-factor theory is seen to be applied by Yuan leadership affecting employee motivation. Hertzberg argues that motivation depends on two categories of factors: hygiene factor and motivators. Hygiene factors include things such as organizational stability, communication, and working conditions. At Zoom, leadership transparency during security challenges help reduce uncertainty among employees. The company also provides collaboration and employee well-being through initiatives such as Chief Happiness Officer and Encourage programs. Motivator programs include achievement, recognition, responsibility, and meaningful work. Yuan connects engineering work to a larger purpose, such as enabling global communication and collaboration. This motivation was particularly evident during the pandemic, when engineering teams successfully scaled the platform to handle enormous demand with many positive outcomes. However, one unintended consequence is that rapid growth and strong customer focus may increase workload pressure on engineering teams, potentially leading to stress. Although Zoom has been highly successful, some leadership improvements and recommendations may be needed. While Zoom successfully navigated its early security risks, our focus now shifts to two internal hurdles: overdependency on the leaders and rising risk of burnout. Our first pillar is institutionalizing servant leadership through middle management. As Zoom scales, we need a constant leadership philosophy at every level. We propose a mandatory servant leadership certification and 360-degree feedback for all managers. By prioritizing empathy and stewardship over merely technical competence, and we reduce overdependence on the CEO and build a more autonomous, collaborative workforce. Second, we must redefine sustainable high performance. With 42% of employees reporting burnout, the work is life. Mentality is no longer sustainable. It's recommended to introduce recovery metrics alongside productivity KPIs and encouraging leaders to publicly set boundaries like no email after 7 p.m. This close the modeling gaps and improve psychological safety. This recommendation could strengthen leadership effectiveness, improve employee leadership and satisfaction, and support the long-term performance of Zoom meetings division. Thank you for your attention. Deliver happiness.